Our first presentation, well, 50% of hosting runs WordPress, right? 50% of that use outdated software. That sounds terrible. It sounds like hackers welcome written all over it, right? But maybe it's also a great opportunity. Let's find out more with the CEO of Perfect Dashboard. Please welcome Mr. Aleksander Kuczek.
Hi. Thank you very much for a warm welcome, and it's great to be here. So, yes, those of you that had a chance to actually be here a couple minutes ago, you were able to hear about the results of the hackathon, and you were clearly able to see that there is a lot of projects concerning the security part of WordPress. But today, I want to actually touch on the both sides. I want to show WordPress, obviously, as a flag, as a problem. It is, but also actually as an opportunity, because it is not only a problem, because usually where there is a problem, there is also an opportunity to make money. But to do that, I would actually need a clicker. Is there any chance I could get one? Perfect. Thank you. That may help. So, what I'm going to talk about today. First, quick overview on the status of WordPress. You may know that already, but I just want to recap the main points. Then, what are the reasons behind WordPress success? Well, WordPress trouble. I know you may have heard about that part already, but let me just do a quick recap on that. Then, WordPress monetization strategies. So, how this problem could potentially be turned into the opportunity. What are the trends that you see nowadays in the hosting industry? And obviously future, where WordPress is heading and how this affects hosting industry. Okay, let's start right through. So WordPress on shared hosting. You probably know that number already. So like a week ago, W3Tech officially announced that 30% of WordPress that 30% of internet is running WordPress. But as Claudia just said a minute ago, it's actually probably closer to 50. Why? Because W3Tech only take top 10 million websites into consideration as of Alexa search rank. So obviously that's only the tip of the iceberg. Most of hosting companies we work with report between 50 and 60% of their customers have at least one WordPress installed on their web space. So that's the official number that WordPress is bragging about, but the reality is actually it's closer to 50 or even 60%. Then a couple more interesting numbers. WordPress growth rate, last 2 years on average, 29% a year. That's faster than Wix, Weebly, or Squarespace, so the companies that everybody is worried about. Moreover, WordPress currently powers 42% of all e-commerce websites. And even if you look at the big one, like top 10,000 e-commerce websites, it's still the most popular e-commerce system. So WordPress is no longer only about blogging. It's actually also a powerful e-commerce platform, thanks to WooCommerce, the most popular e-commerce plugin for WordPress. So keep that in mind, that WordPress is now way beyond a simple blogging solution. And one more thing, WordPress is still growing pretty quickly. I've just done the quick math last week, and it occurs that the last version is being downloaded at the pace of 500,000 downloads a day. So it means that every single day, 500,000 WordPress installations appear somewhere. So as we can easily count, for every cloud, like within the CloudFest, we could easily get to like 2.5 million new WordPress installations. So after we'll depart this event, there will be 2.5 million more WordPress websites out there. But actually, the problem is that the revenue does not follow that. There is more and more WordPress websites coming in, but the revenue is not there. If you look at the numbers for, especially for the shared hosting, and you'll take like last 10 years, which is more or less the time WordPress has been around, because WordPress is like 12 years old, you'll see that the price of the shared hosting has actually decreased. I've taken the data from free American hosting providers such as LiquidWeb, DreamHost, and InMotion, and it seems that on average, the price has dropped by 42% in the last 10 years. So yes, the WordPress is booming. The problem with that is that the revenue does not follow that pattern. And one of the things I'll be covering today is how we can change that. So what are the things behind WordPress success? What made WordPress such a successful thing? So there's a couple of reasons I see there as the reasons behind the success. It's the vision they have, it's the stability that they have, it's the fact that they're open source, and it's all the excitement that is generated by people around WordPress. So, WordPress has a very clear vision. It's a vision of democratizing content and make it easy for everyone to publish whatever they want in the internet. And that's true that they've made a pretty good job with doing that. But that's only, that's the outer layer. If you look deeper, I think that one of the biggest achievements of WordPress so far is that they're maintained backwards compatibility, meaning that if you have started using WordPress 12 years ago, you can consistently keep the same website without rebuilding it from scratch, just upgrading from one version to another. Of course, sometimes there are things that needs to be corrected, but still, compared to any other major CMS, it's true that they have done the good job in there. Well, honestly speaking, a lot of engineers will say that because of that, WordPress code base is crap. Well, I won't comment on that, but obviously from the business stance, that was a very smart decision, and that was one of the key points that brought WordPress to the place where it is right now. The next thing, can we get the next thing? Yes, stability. So WordPress has steady leadership. Matt Mullenweg, the person who have founded WordPress, is still with WordPress, and he still has a clear vision where he wants the project to get. Gutenberg is the next big thing WordPress is working on, which is actually a tool to make it even easier for people to build new websites and, let's say, Wixify WordPress a little bit. And then the second thing that is very important here is that WordPress has a lot of corporate backing. And I don't only mean Automatic, so the company that is behind WordPress, no matter WordPress is officially run by the foundation, but also hosting companies. If you look at GoDaddy, Bluehost, DreamHost, LiquidWeb, they all have people who full-time contribute to WordPress, meaning they are paid by whatever of those hosting companies, but they work full-time on WordPress development, which means that this project does not fully rely on volunteers. It has people whose job is to actually make WordPress a better place. And obviously, there are thousands of people in other corporations that contribute to WordPress either in part of their time or after hours. So that's another reason why WordPress is so successful. Open source, that's the third thing. So obviously, that brings extendability. In the official WordPress plugin repository, there is 50,000 plugins that could be used to extend the basic possibilities of WordPress. But the story does not end there. Actually, we track over 250,000 of different plugins, themes, and commercial extensions to WordPress. So that's more or less the number of things that has been created around WordPress as a WordPress ecosystem. And that creates huge possibilities to develop the website you need in almost any way you want to do that. And of course, the fact that WordPress is free of charge doesn't hurt either. Well, excitement. That's, I think, one of the key ingredients of WordPress success. If you look at WordPress community, they are all about WordPress. You can see people in WordPress space wearing WordPress t-shirts, having WordPress stickers on their laptops. I've actually seen that a lot of automaticians, so people who work with Automatic, they've changed the Apple logo on their beautiful Macs to a WordPress logo, because that's their primary brand association. So you can clearly see that, and I think that I've just seen Jan with WordPress Carpenter, yeah? So here's a live example from Plesk CTO. And WordCamps. Every single week there is WordCamp somewhere, so the gathering of people who do WordPress. Usually, in the peak season, you will have like 5 WordCamps happening on the same weekend in states alone. Like I've seen that case that I was attending, I don't know, WordCamp Miami, and a lot of my WordPress friends were scattered all over the states because there were like 5 other WordCamps happening on the same weekend. So there is a large community around that. And one of the best examples of that community is actually the story of Wapuu, the WordPress mascot, originally designed in Japan by the Japanese fans of WordPress. And, well, it's an open source mascot, and almost every single company that has something to do with WordPress has its own. Almost every WordCamp has its own. So there are thousands of Wapuu, and people are actually collecting them as stickers. And that has become a huge thing in the WordPress world. That's why, to make it closer, we actually decided to bring the only human-sized Wapuu to our booth. So feel free to join in, see how it looks in the real world, and make a photo if you want. Moving on. WordPress is not only good, there is also WordPress trouble ahead. And you probably know that already, especially those who were here for the hackathon announcement. So the big thing is that WordPress is not up to date. And only 20% runs on the newest version of WordPress. And 80% of WordPress websites, as we can see that when we enter the new hosting company, usually runs on the older versions. I've mentioned version 4.9.3 in here, because that's actually a pretty important thing and a huge game changer for every hosting company in the WordPress space. Because what happened in that version? In version of WordPress 4.9.3, it actually has broken the auto-updating system. Because WordPress was auto-updating itself within the minor version, which solved part of the problem with the WordPress itself, not to mention all of the plugins, but it has been broken in 4.9.3, meaning the websites have automatically updated to this version, but they will not update further. So the version 4.9.4 that has followed and fixed that problem has not been automatically applied to those websites. And I've seen that it has been a huge problem for many websites. Actually, 3 weeks ago, I was in Salt Lake City at WordPress conference, and I had a chance to talk with engineers at Bluehost, and they said they spent hundreds of hours to actually fix that and manually apply the new version to every single WordPress instance they had, because they wanted to do that. But obviously, that's an issue that requires addressing, because a lot of WordPress websites that are up to date, that were up to date until now, will not be up to date. So that's the part of WordPress trouble. And why keeping WordPress up to date is important? Well, the thing is that according to data from Sucuri, which is, I think, the most famous security company in the space of WordPress, 80% of websites in the moment of hacking intrusion have outdated software. So, of course, correlation does not always mean causation, but yes, outdated software is usually the easiest way of entry to the WordPress website. And, well, I think everybody is telling that, but let me just give you a quick reminder of what are the consequences of WordPress websites being hacked. First of all is the brand damage to hosters. It is surprising, but users don't blame WordPress when it gets hacked. They blame hosters. They think that it's hosters' job to keep the websites up to date. Not to mention the other trouble caused by that. So the high support load, because people are actually contacting support and asking what happened. the cost of spam. One of the hosting companies we work with has calculated that the cost of spam being sent out from WordPress instances is 17% of their total infrastructure cost. And obviously churn, according to stopbadware.org, churn, like website being hacked, is the main reason why people change from one hosting to another. Okay, so all that said, what are the ways to monetize WordPress? So that may be a no-brainer for some of you. Obviously, offering WordPress-optimized hosting is one way to go. The other one, a little bit more difficult, is offering managed hosting. And then the third one is offering auto-updating solution. So let's jump straight to it. WordPress-optimized hosting. That's sometimes actually only a pretty packaging on the shared hosting itself. Like I know shared hosting companies that offer a typical shared hosting called WordPress-optimized hosting, and that's it. So I wouldn't invite you to go that way, but most companies offer that already, so you can clearly see that as an option. Usually, WordPress-optimized hosting has some features, such as, for example, the stack that is optimized for that. Sometimes we have some, the infrastructure is slightly better done for that, or the backups are done in such a way that it's easier to restore that as a WordPress website. Then you have the WordPress managed hosting, which is a more complicated product where usually you give the guarantee to the user that some things will happen, meaning that, for example, the website will be updated, or that the speed and performance issues will be solved and the WordPress will be running faster. So that's a more popular way. Of course, it's usually more higher product, like more higher tier product with a higher price point. The issue with WordPress, with managed WordPress, is that launching this product takes time. Like I usually see that it takes around 12 months for a hosting customer to actually launch the managed WordPress product. And then the third solution is WordPress auto-updating. So it's a smaller option of just putting a small layer of updates on the core business, on the shared hosting. So instead of building the entire product, it's a small, cheap thing that could be easily upsold and that naturally extends the core business of hosting companies. And that's the first two I think are pretty widely known, because I've seen WordPress hosting, like WordPress optimized hosting and managed hosting on most hosting companies. Then offering auto updates on top of shared hosting is still a space that has not been explored that much. And I believe that's actually the quickest way to monetize WordPress users because of the price point, because you can offer that at the very low price, and this way you can get rapid adoption very quickly. Moving on to the future. So obviously, WordPress is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and with the project Gutenberg being launched later this year, we'll probably see even faster adoption. So WordPress is already a thing. It'll be growing probably as fast as it is or even faster. So it's the question to all of you, whether you will be able to utilize that opportunity and make money out of it, or you will be just suffering from the consequences of having so many WordPress websites out there. Okay, thank you very much for the attention. I'm Aleksander Kuczek from Perfect Dashboard. If you want to find me later, F05, that's the booth we have. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you so much, Aleksander Kuczek. Are there questions? We would have time for a very quick question. No. I have a question for you. Are you coming to our Lords of Uptime concert tonight at 9 o'clock?
Oh, obviously.
You are?
It's the key point of my evening.
Come on, I have Dr. D here as well.
Hey!
Hey.
How's it going, man?
Good,
Nice
great to see you.
Nice to see you. We want to see all of you there, please,
Here,
please, please, please.
give this one.
All of you, please. Okay, if it working.
It should.
Does this microphone
Yes,
work?
it is.
Yes.
Hey, hi everybody. Nice to see you. And it'll be great to see you tonight.
Yes, 9 o'clock, Colosseo
Exactly.
Hotel. And you're going to play guitar, keyboards, you're going to sing, you're
Yeah.
just going to rock the stage.
And you're
right?
going to sing?
I'm just trying to vanish in the
Oh,
ground.
not at all, not at all. You're going to do an amazing
Could
job.
you give us a sneak preview?
Pardon?
Could you give us a sneak preview
We
right
could do a
now?
little
No,
duet
no,
here
no,
right
no,
now.
no,
No,
no.
it's too early in the morning. Not enough
too early.
coffee. Actually, not enough beer, I would say, more than
Beer,
anything
whiskey,
else.
or
Yes,
something.
exactly. Okay.
Don't tell everything, all our secrets. No. Okay, thank you. We have a short trailer for you as well, so just stay. We have a few minutes before our next presentation is going to start, so we're going to have a short commercial break again. Thank you, Aleksander.
Thank you.
Cheers.